I appreciate it. We were talking about some stuff before we came on. Like, we got to record this, but it was really about using AI. And you were asking some stuff on ChatGPT and the delay it has recently with the upgrade chain. I don't know if it's upgrade or downgrade, which one it is. This new 5.0 model, there's this huge delay when I ask a question, and it just takes a while to come. It's probably, as I said, it's probably doing a lot of thinking, but it gets annoying because you're like waiting and it freezes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it just upgraded to ChatGPT 5 as the model, and the default, I'm looking at it right now on my screen. The default is automatic. So it decides based on the question and the kind of answer you want, how long to think. There is an option for a fast answer where I guess it does a little bit less research or just yeah, I mean, or thinking where it says it thinks longer for better answer. You can also go back, and by the way, there's also a pro model. I don't have that. I do have a paid chat GPT. I do not have the pro model, which has what it calls research grade intelligence. But I have heard from a number of attorneys who have used that pro model to help draft various documents. They do country conditions research, and they've said, I mean, increasingly that they're more and more impressed with it. Again, as
Is that the
always, never copy
$200 a month
paste.
version?
I think you know what? Let me check since we're kind of talking through this.
Because I had
Um,
the consumer one that was like 20 bucks a month, and I got a team version with my legal assistant so that we could share some
yeah.
GPTs that we use. It was 25 bucks a month. And there
Yep.
wasn't much of a difference in quality other than that we could like share a GPT for what it's worth.
Yeah. So $200 a month. It's interesting. There are two options. There's Plus, which I have, and then there is Pro, which has better reasoning, unlimited tools. It's faster, so I guess you're throttled a little bit when you have the Pro version. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good to no, and I mean, I think that's one of the things we want to talk about today, as far as people's use of ChatGPT. I'll use that as kind of short form for any one of these models, Anthropic, etc. But everyone says ChatGPT. Attorneys are still using it more and more. Every conference across the board has at least one topic about AI, or if not, it comes up. And so I think for many skeptics, they're just coming around because more and more of their colleagues are using it. Do you use it, by the way, John?
I do, and primarily it's like backup legal research. So it's like someone asks
Yeah.
me something, and I'm just like, let me get some info from there too. And actually, every week there'll be one thing I ask ChatGPT about immigration law, and it'll get wrong, and I'll share on my weekly podcast, where it's just like I have to 5 different ways and say, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" Then it realizes it, and so it's on some really these are like long tail stuff that's very specific. It'll take a while on generic stuff. It'll get that big idea. Like 9 out of 10 cases, yeah, that's the answer. But those 1 out of 10 cases where it needs a lawyer because they'd have to know what's there. So essentially, I ask it questions. I have to know the answer ahead of time to know what's wrong, but it's a way of confirming. And then when I ask it for citations, like where is in the Foreign Affairs Manual is it this, or which INA section is it? It'll give the wrong section, but it'll give me some information that I can go by, and from there build my stuff up much faster. Or they'll be like, I'm like, I remember there was this like BIA decision that was about this, and it'll give me some information for me to more easily find what it was. So that it'll save me. That's an hour of time. Literally, it'll save me sometimes from me trying to find this, find that, and also uploading stuff for it to read. There's this new update from the Code of Federal Regulations proposed for F1 and J1 students, and it was 42 or 46 pages, dense. And I uploaded. I'm like, give me get good 10 talking points so I can do a podcast on it, and it did a great job. But I ended up reading it anyways because I'm like, it might not get the full thing. Or I just want to get it, and it was
Yeah.
excruciating read to go through. I did a podcast on it yesterday, and then I went and uploaded all the Facebook groups for immigration lawyers. But I uploaded to 20 groups at once, and all of them got like frozen. It didn't upload. Oh man, this is time of the essence. I need to get this up. So now it's like not going on all the Facebook groups. Like I forgot to fix that because no one's seen it. It's a private only for immigration lawyers to review, to leave comments on it, to know
Yeah.
where to go to government to comment and what to comment about the errors in the government process. But it's helpful. And the other thing I did is I not only have ChatGPT, I have for some reason I'll have double names. It's like Claude by Anthropic, ChatGPT by OpenAI. It's always I guess it's a
Right.
product in the company. So I had Grok because I had met this one
Right.
lawyer. Like my kid's karate, there's other lawyers next to me. He's like, Grok has the best legal research, which is it doesn't. That's a lot of errors on there. So I opened that one, Claude, and then I had a client a week or two ago. I'm like, how'd you find me? He's like, I asked Microsoft Copilot. I'm like, oh, is that their thing? I think it's probably ChatGPT too. So I added that,
Yeah.
and then Google just added this banana program. It's called something banana, where it's like the images are better or something's better. So last week I added it. So I have like a separate full like a browser with just 5 things. And I asked ChatGPT, which always lags. So then I asked the other 5 in the meantime, copy paste and all 5. And I flipped through them really quick to see at least now I know which is the best ones. it's a lot of times for marketing too. I'm like, okay, I wrote this newsletter, but how should I word it? Or this LinkedIn, I wrote this and I give it to them to give some ideas and I'll pluck out paragraphs the way they wrote it, or they'll catch stuff that's sometimes interesting, like, oh, provide more legal analysis in there that I didn't think about to add and stuff. So it's like, oh, it thinks in addition to add. It's really interesting.
Yeah, totally. This is why people say you need to do your own review. You have to understand what the output is, but it's going to find things that you don't consider. It's going to do it much, much faster than you would do it anyway. So it's a good tool. It's a tool. And we've all talked about this ad nauseum. I mean, every single conference, again, panel where we talk about AI, we use it as a tool. It's not replacing anybody, and it is certainly not replacing you as an attorney. But I did want to talk about there continue to be questions about privacy. This came up in a Facebook group the other day, so I thought it would be interesting for us to talk about. Some people, maybe a lot of people already know about this, but there are questions about, hey, who's using what tier in terms of OpenAI? And I think it's just important for folks to note that, look, even if you're going to use, so the free version, basically of any product, good thing to remember, people always say, if you are not paying for the product, you are the product, and your data is the thing that is providing value to these companies. And they're selling it somehow or using it somehow to generate revenue one way or the other. So if you're using ChatGPT or any product for free, do not put sensitive or really probably any client data in there. Now, if you're paying for it, there are different tiers. So there's several tiers. For example, the business tier, and I think the team one as well, the one's $20 that I'm paying, and I think you're paying 25, I guess, a month. You're able to turn off training, meaning you're not training the model on the information you're inputting, but it's still retaining, I guess, that information. I haven't read
Yeah.
the retention period of that data. But the sort of the pro, the highest tiers, especially if you have the enterprise tier, you could make it so that there is zero retention of data. Now, I don't know. This is based on contract. And so we all have to assume that they're doing the thing they're saying they're doing uh,
Well, there was a
in their
lawsuit, I think
contracts.
New York Times or somebody against ChatGPT because they're saying they're taking our data and stuff. And a judge said ChatGPT has to maintain all information coming in. So even though inevitably when it's digital, you could expect that they're always whatever they say, they're always going to have it, or NSA is going to keep it. So like whatever you put in there, any data is digital at this point. Even my home cameras and stuff, it's all up to remember. It's for eternity as long as the government exists. They're going to be holding on to these data centers in some way or fashion.
Yeah, and OpenAI has an entire privacy page. I'm looking at it right now for enterprise level. So enterprise level, obviously, if you're a big company, this isn't going to be relevant for a small
Mhm.
firm, solo firm, definitely. Maybe in a larger firm, but certainly for corporates, right? It says our commitments provide you with ownership and control over your business data. And I'll just read out a couple of the comments here. And this is, by the way, openai.com/ enterprise dash privacy. So anybody can check this out. It says, we do not train our models on your business data by default. You own your inputs and outputs. Quote, or in parentheses, where allowed by law. You control how long your data is retained. That's really important, right? It's one thing where a model isn't trained on your data, but if the data is being typed into the chat and then you press enter, it's going somewhere,
Yeah.
right? Like OpenAI is reading it. It might read it and then look at your settings and say, okay, don't use this data to train the model, but it's still reading the information. So I think it's really important to think about and to understand how long data is being retained for. So that's something for people to think about. Again, you really should understand that super sensitive data shouldn't be input into one of these platforms. Definitely, if you are not paying any money for it, but even if you are paying money for it, make sure to look at the privacy policy. If you're not, or the data policy, if you're not sure, you can honestly copy paste that privacy policy into ChatGPT or into one of these other platforms and ask it to pull out the aspects of the policy with respect to data use and data retention. If you don't want to read the legalese, ask it to do that in a way that's easy to understand. And at least that way you'll know what you're doing. Um,
Yeah, for the most part, people listening are going to
so,
do the
yeah,
enterprise model, so they're not going to get those additional protections. It's kind of like pay for the basics, turn it off, but
right.
still don't. If there's a situation where just think like if ICE was reading this, would they get my client and then just take the names off, dates of birth, A numbers, anything like that? I had one case
Exactly.
which was an NIW, and I got permission from my client to put it at ChatGPT to give their opinion on our cover letter. And his stuff's all it's all public because it's all and whatever's in the national interest waiver is all online anyway. So it wasn't anything. He's like, okay, that's
Right.
fine. And then so I uploaded it and it's like, oh, this is approvable, and it didn't get approved. I was they
Oh,
came to me for an RFE, so I was doing the RFE response. But the officer just didn't care. It was like one of those that it's not going to happen. I didn't do the initial
how do
case.
you so that's a really good point, and I'll ask you as the experienced practicing attorney in the room, how do you communicate your use of AI with your clients?
I mean, I don't use it too much on per se on clients. It's more from my personal like research. So it's like, huh, how does the TN work in this context? So I had this one case where it's N470. It's like if you're a green card holder, but you're going to be outside the US for a while, but you're working for a multinational company or something like that. So I was researching it, not as much client. But in that one case, I that was openly discussing like the case of facts. I just said, hey, is that your permission? I'll put ChatGPT. It might be shared publicly and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. I just got an email. Technically, have him sign off and all that kind of stuff. But it was so like all the information was public anyways that we're using in there. It was just rewording
Yeah.
in my way that it was okay. But I have it in my contract anyways because when we first started saving information on the cloud, I had it where it's like your information might be in the cloud and stuff like that in Dropbox. So I want them to know. But then I just had to catch all that. We might use online cloud systems. So I just increased it from Dropbox because it's on Gmail. And Google is stealing all this stuff anyways. Then right now we have like our case management software going to be on them too. We don't keep data anywhere else. So it's our cloud case management and then emails where information and data go. I don't think there's a third or fourth, but I just kind of kept it open ended because we just say, do our best. The reality is now, like there's still people who get really worried about their social security number being out. But I'm like, my social security number has been stolen at least 50 times in my life. And every week there's another one
Wow.
of these things. So there's no data privacy anymore. It's not realistic. The best thing to do is just do credit report checks constantly or like once a year at least and keep top of your bank statements to make sure things aren't being stolen because I don't think there's an expectation of privacy anymore in the digital America.